Welcome back to the Synaxis podcast. It's Jordan.
And I'm Josh.
And it's a wonderful Christmas time, wonderful life, Christmas special. Yeah, we're going to talk about that one movie that everybody loves. I just saw it on Thanksgiving with my parents.
Had you not seen it before?
No, never have. I've always heard references to it, and everybody says it's the classic, and it's like a lot of people's favorite Christmas movies, but somehow I missed it. And I was actually reading a book about like story structure. I think it's called How to Structure a Novel. And they use the movie in there a lot for examples of like great story structure. So I wanted to see it, and I was like, well, that's the season. And I ended up really liking it. There's like a cynical part of me that I had to like shut up and just let myself enjoy this.
Yeah, I had a little bit of that going on too.
But it's mostly really good. So
I'm surprised you'd never seen it before. You know, your parents, I don't remember when I first saw it. It was sometime when I was a kid, and I didn't remember all of it completely. Like, it was more illuminating now watching it being an adult. But I remembered some general plot themes and stuff. But yeah, it was good. My wife and I watched it, and it was good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Yeah, I guess for people who haven't seen it, I don't know if there are. I might be the last one, but it's essentially about a dude who he's like a pretty selfless guy. He gives up a lot of his dreams to help his community out, and there's like an evil businessman that tries to ruin his life, essentially, and then he gets to like rock bottom where he gets to a point where he feels like he would be better off dead, and then he wishes he was never born, and an angel comes and shows him what the world would be like without him. And that's kind of, I guess that's the main story. And it's based on a short story called The Greatest Gift, which I picked that up because I wanted to check that out. And I ended up liking that a lot too.
I didn't know it was a short story at all. Was it a good short story?
I thought it was really solid. It's the opening's really good. It's obviously it's a short story, so it's it's basically like the last 10 minutes of the movie. It opens with I think his name's George Pratt in the story. Then it opens with him standing on the bridge. Yeah, so it was written by Philip Van Doren Stern. He started writing it in 1938, and then he worked on it like over the years, and he tried to get it published in 1943, but nobody wanted it, so he sent it out as Christmas cards. And then somehow like a movie executive or somebody got a hold of it, and they called him up. They're like, we want to make it a picture. But yeah, I really like the opening paragraph. I copied it down because I think it's really good writing. I'll read it for you. It goes, the little town straggling up the hill was bright with colored Christmas lights, but George Pratt did not see them. He was leaning over the railing of the iron bridge, staring down moodily at the black water. The current eddied and swirled like liquid glass, and occasionally a bit of ice, detached from the shore, would go gliding downstream to be swallowed up in the shadows under the bridge. The water looked paralyzingly cold. George wondered how long a man could stay alive in it. The glassy blackness had a strange hypnotic effect on him. He leaned still further over the railing. I wouldn't do that if I were you, a quiet voice beside him said. And then that's where the angel comes in. But they don't call him an angel. He's just the stranger. But I just love that opening. And it's like, it's a really good example of like show, don't tell. Because it doesn't tell you like, oh, he's here, he's really depressed and he wants to end it all. It just describes like the whole scene, and you can infer what's going on.
In the whole short story, the stranger stays just the stranger. It's not referred to as an angel at any point.
No, I really like how they describe him too. He was the most unremarkable little person, the sort you would pass in a crowd and never notice, unless you saw his bright blue eyes, that is. You couldn't forget them, for they were the kindest, sharpest eyes you ever saw. And yeah, they never call him an angel. He's just like a mysterious, magical guy. And they have a conversation. Like, he somehow knows George's wife's name and his kids and stuff. And he's like, Mary would be really disappointed. Like, what would they do without you? He's like, oh, I wish I were never born. And then the story starts. He's like, oh, you do you? It's a lot different from the movie. Obviously, they had to expand on it because it's only like 20 pages or so. So he's like, he makes his wish and it's granted. And then the stranger gives him this bag full of like salesman brushes. And he's like, it's dangerous to go alone. You might need this. And And so that's kind of how he gets into people's houses, because the rest of the story is him like going to his old places. He like sees his parents and he pretends he's a salesman. He's like, here's a free brush. And then they invite him in and he finds out what life was like without him. And there were a lot of little details that they ended up putting in the movie, like the tree with the gouge in it where he hit it with the
Oh yeah,
car.
he hits it with his car. Yeah,
Yeah. And his brother,
almost drowning where he saves him.
yeah, his brother does drown in the alternate reality because he wasn't there to save him. And but in this one, his wife gets a new husband and bratty little kids, and she's miserable.
Oh yeah, they
uh,
changed that in the movie.
yeah, but yeah, I thought it was really good, and I get why the filmmakers, when they read it, they were like, "Oh, we got to adapt this."
So you liked the movie adaptation as well?
Yeah, in a lot of ways, the movie's almost better, just the way they expanded on it, because
Yeah, I
they
mean,
were.
it has a lot more depth. I think the one I saw was over 2 hours long. So
Yeah, like I said, the short story is just the last 10 minutes, and they really had to expand on it and do a lot more character development. And I think they did a really good job with that. Like the whole plot with Henry Potter and like the evil businessman trying to take over the town's not really there. It's funny, I was reading about it, and like I guess there's like an FBI report about the movie, and they thought that making the businessman evil was like a pro-communist propaganda
oh,
move.
I see. Yeah.
It's like, oh, evil rich people. But the director, Frank Capra, I don't know a lot about him. I know he made a bunch of like legendary movies, like early Hollywood stuff, like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I haven't seen, this was the first one of his that I've seen. But he had a quote where he said he was trying to combat atheism with this movie, which I thought was kind of rad.
Cool. Yeah, that's sick.
Because yeah, I got the short story. I got a pretty nice edition of it, and there's like an afterword by the author's daughter, and she tells the story about how Jimmy Stewart, he got a call from the director and told him his idea for the story, and he said the two main ideas are no man is born to be a failure and no one is poor who has friends, and those were like the themes he was going for. But yeah, I just really like the wholesomeness of it all and like the community oriented, like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it does seem like there's a lot of like subtle or not so subtle shots at like the American kind of like individualism and not really being a part of a community and taking your destiny in your own hands. Like he wants to go off and explore and do all of his own
Yeah.
dreams, but he feels kind of let down when he stays and is part of like a wholesome community. But then in
Hmm.
the end, he realizes that that's the more important.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe we should go through, I sort of took notes in sequence because the movie opens in outer space.
Yeah, I thought that was
Around
a
the,
wild
yeah,
takeaway. Yeah.
it's kind of like it's one of the things that aged the least well, I think, in the movie,
Yeah.
like all the god stuff. It's like it's kind of cute, but it's like the silliest part.
It's cute and silly. Yeah, the like gaining your wings. Yeah, the angel part was kind of silly. And then
Yeah.
when the angels talk in space, it's like galaxies like lighting up. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
kind of silly.
Yeah. Oh, but I guess it does open up on Earth, but like all these prayers are going up for George, but you don't really know what's happening with him. It's just like somebody like God, please help George Bailey. Like he's not doing well and stuff, and you don't really know why. There was a line where like the angel shows up and he's like, "What's wrong with him? Is he sick?" And God says like, "Worse, he's discouraged." And I thought that was interesting. But yeah, they tell this angel to go help him out, and he wants to earn his wings. Yeah, the whole angelology thing is kind of
Yeah,
silly,
it was pretty silly.
but it works for like the story structure aspect of it because it gives him a character arc where he's like got a desire that he has like with like a if they were trying to go like biblically accurate angels it would be harder to pull that off.
Yeah, yeah, you're probably right. Just a
So
bunch of eyes.
yeah. But yeah, and then we get the download. Saint Joseph tells George's life story up to that point. Yeah, and we see him rescue his brother from almost drowning, and he loses his hearing in his left ear, which is an important plot point. And then we see him as like a young boy working at the pharmacy slash ice cream shop. And then we also meet like the two girls that love him throughout the movie,
Yeah.
Violet and Mary. And that whole thing's really cute. But then yeah, and then like the pharmacist is drunk because his son just died, and so he's like really distraught, and he's been drinking, and he almost accidentally sends poison out in capsules, and George realizes it like at the last minute. He's like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't bring these," and then he sees a sign that says "Ask your father" or something like that on the wall. So he goes next door, and his dad's in Bailey building and loan, but he's in a meeting with the villain of the story, Mr. Potter. It's a really good way to like introduce all the characters. And he's trying to get advice from his dad, but he's distracted because there's this old rich guy giving him issues and like insulting him.
Yeah, that's when he shows up and tries to like defend his dad's honor, right? That's when he walks in.
Yeah, and it sets up that conflict. But then he just ends up going back to the pharmacy, and then and his boss gets the call from the customer, like, "Where are my pills?" And he's like, "Oh, I sent George like an hour ago. Where is he?" And he comes in, and he's trying to tell him that he accidentally put poison in there, but he's super drunk still, and he slaps him on the ear, and then like immediately he's like, "Oh no, like I'm so sorry for doing that." And at the moment, I thought that was like the acting was super effective in that because they're just like both crying, and like it turns out that he really was drunk and accidentally hit him on the ear, and like all the blood coming out is real. And then like the reaction of like, oh no, like I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm so sorry. Like all of that actually like they got it on tape. And that makes a lot of sense now watching it back.
Yeah, we
But
got my wife and I got to this part of the movie, and my wife had never seen it, and she didn't realize up till this point that it wasn't A Christmas Carol. That's what she thought it was. So there's like all this stuff in the pharmacy. It's like really dramatic, and everyone's crying. And she's like, "Isn't this the movie with like Ghost of Christmas Past?"
yeah, I read that like it was like loosely inspired by it or something, but I don't know.
Yeah, I could see some relations for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. It seems like a secondhand thing. I didn't really read anything from the author about that or anything, so I don't know. But yeah, and then George grows up. We see him as an adult, and he has all these dreams of going off to college and traveling Europe and stuff. And he's at home with, or yeah, he has dinner with his family. And I remember there being, I can't remember this as well. I wanted to watch it again, but I didn't get the chance. But he has like a nice moment with his dad at dinner where he tells him like, I think you're a great man or something, and I really look up to you or whatever, like one of those sweet moments. And then he gets like invited to like the high school dance with his brother or something like that,
Yeah.
where he meets Mary, who's like in love with him, but I don't think he knows. Oh, because he can't hear out of his left ear. She like whispered in his ear that she loved him or whatever, like way earlier. But I thought this was kind of cool because he's sort of like he's like, may I have this dance? And he like borrows her from the guy that she's with, and he's like really jealous and offended by it. So while they're dancing, he opens up the gym floor with the pool under it to like try to trap him in it or make him fall into it. And then they do, but it backfires because everybody's like, "Yo, pool party!" And they all jump
Yeah, and
in.
everyone jumps in. Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of cool, like thematically, because there's like three main set pieces where he jumps into water. And there's the first one where he rescues his brother, and then there's this one, and then there's the one at the end where he's going to unalive himself, but he doesn't end up doing it. Spoilers. But I thought it was kind of cool, like a thematic sort of symbol of like this evil, jealous person tries to ruin his life and literally like pull the rug out from under him. But then like the whole community like jumps in and like saves him.
That is a good point. That's cool.
Yeah, and then we see him with Mary, and they're like on their like first date or whatever, and they're like throwing rocks at the abandoned house.
Crazy
Um,
first date idea.
yeah, and he promises to like lasso the moon. Just a nice romantic time. But then like the other shoe drops, and he finds out his dad had a stroke and died, and that's sort of what like sets up the rest of the story because now he's going to have to take over his dad's business and he has to give up on his dreams to travel and go to school. Yeah, because Mr. Potter, the evil businessman, is trying to shut down the building and loan, and it's like the only thing standing between him and like full domination and taking advantage of all the poor. Because he has this thing where he pretty much forces a bunch of people into slums and overcharges them and stuff. And this was one of the things where it's like, I wish, it's hard for me to imagine a company like this these days where they're like just loaning to people who they know can't pay back because they're trying to help them out. And like just out of the goodness of their heart, they're like, yeah, we have to help them have a home. Like people need a home, even though they can't afford it. Like, what are we going to do? What
Yeah.
else? It's just like hard for me to imagine that kind of a business model these days. And I don't know how realistic it was even for this back in this day, but
Yeah, it really juxtaposes his like more moral community-based business against like Mr. Potter being like the Machiavellian banker who
Yeah.
tries to just get the most over on other people at all times.
Yeah, totally.
Now, also, Lionel Barrymore is correct. So on a financial level, the villain of this piece is actually the hero, because if Jimmy Stewart actually gets his way, all of Bedford Falls collapses in the subprime mortgage crisis. Basically, Jimmy Stewart keeps giving out loans without proper checking into the credit history of the people he's giving loans to based on his sort of assessment of their own personal viability financially. Lionel Barrymore is much more by the numbers. Lionel Barrymore is a better banker, and that local bank probably goes under. So
And he realizes that like if he doesn't take over the business, then Mr. Potter will take everything. So he has to step up. And that's like one of his really selfless moves, giving up on his dreams to do that. A lot happens in this movie. I guess a quick summary. So he ends up taking the job. The board of directors votes him in, and he's working with his uncle Billy. Oh, and he ends up giving his tuition savings to his brother so he can go off to school. And I guess they agree that he'll come back and take over the company when he graduates, but that doesn't end up happening because he ends up getting married. And then so I guess Mary's been away at school for a while, so he hasn't seen her in a long time. And he finds out she's back, so they kind of rekindle their relationship, and they end up getting married too. And I saw some reviews that were complaining about her character, where she's way too perfect of a wife. She like puts up with all his. She's pretty much ride or die with everything that he does, which I thought that was actually really cool. I liked her character for that.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes it like way more tragic at the end when he's having a hard time dealing. Like he doesn't want to tell her what he's going through, and he's just kind of like lashing out at his family.
Yeah, that's a really good scene too, where he just gets to his house and just like every little annoyance gets to him more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to watch.
It is hard to watch, but it's
especially
still
because she's so sweet. Like she doesn't deserve to be treated like that. And you don't expect that behavior from him, but it really shows like how like what a tight situation he's in and how he doesn't know how to handle it. But we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's when he gets into a bad spot because of his uncle, right?
Yeah. But before that, so they get married and they're about to go on honeymoon, and then the Great Depression happens as they're leaving. I'm pretty sure that's what that was, right? Like there's the run on the bank.
Yeah, it's a run on the banks for sure.
And he ends up putting up all his honeymoon money because everybody comes to claim all of their cash, but he doesn't have any to give them. And this is like another pinch point almost, where like if he doesn't do something now, then Mr. Potter will, like I think Mr. Potter swooped up the banks and he'll take over building a loan too. But George steps up and uses his honeymoon. Well, and his wife is also, I think she's the one that suggests that like we can just put our honeymoon money on this and keep the business afloat. And then she sneaks off and like sets up a plan B honeymoon at that rickety old rundown house that they were throwing rocks at on their first date.
And some of the townspeople help.
Yeah.
Too. It's not just her, which is a good way to show that he really is like already embedded in like his wholesome community, that like people, not only did he sacrifice like his stuff to help everyone out in the Great Depression, but like they are also helping back. But you know, at this time it doesn't really hit him until like the flashbacks later.
Yeah, totally. And that's sort of another, like the same way that the pool scene like mirrors the climax of the movie. This kind of does the same thing too, in a similar way. But then after that, that's when like World War II happens and his brother goes to war and becomes a war hero and like rescues his whole division on their battleship. And before that, George establishes Bailey Park, which like is their own housing development that's kind of in competition with Mr. Potter's slum houses. And that's when Mr. Potter tries to get George to work for him, and he offers him all this money and gives him a cigar, and he like almost takes it, but then in the last minute he snaps out of it. He's like, "No, I'm not going to work for you." Like, are you crazy?
Yeah, he offers him $20,000 a year. So yeah, and at that time it was like a lot.
Yeah, and he was super tempted by it too, because he starts to feel kind of inadequate, I guess, and he's afraid of like, I don't know if it's like right around there he also finds out he's having a kid, and he's like, and yeah, Mr. Potter just does like this sort of like satanic temptation of like, don't you want to buy your wife nice clothes and treat her well and stuff like that. And he like almost takes it, but then he realizes that it would be a bad move. Yeah, and then World War II starts and his brother becomes a war hero. And then soon after that, that's when his uncle Billy he takes $8,000 to the bank, but then he accidentally hands it over to Mr. Potter, like absentmindedly inside of a newspaper. And there's also like a bank inspector coming to like audit them. So it's like the worst timing for this to happen. And this is the thing that starts making George unravel, because like if all these things keep piling on top of each other to where it's like, oh, if he loses his business, then and at this point, I think he has like 4 kids also. So he's afraid that he's going to be thrown in prison because I can't remember exactly all the details of it.
Doesn't he? I think he goes to Mr. Potter for help too after he realizes that the money's gone, and Mr. Potter obviously doesn't reveal that he's took the $8,000.
Yeah.
And how else did he?
And he has like they mentioned that he has a life insurance policy that's worth like $15,000. It's like the only thing he has to his name at this point. And Mr. Potter says something like, "Oh, well, it sounds to me like you're worth more dead than alive," and that like really gets to his head.
And then Mr. Potter calls the cops on him, right? He said he was gonna send people, like he's really sending him over the edge. He's like, "Oh, it sounds like what you're doing is criminal by not having enough money." So, and he just immediately calls the cops on him, and yeah, it kind of pushes.
So on a financial level, the villain of this piece is actually the hero. The villain of this piece is actually the hero.
Yeah, and I think it's right after that when he goes home and he's like just being a bad dad.
Yeah, he has like a 10-minute crash out in front of his loving family.
Yeah, and they're like, "What's wrong?" And that's part of like the tension of watching it, because you're like, "Why don't you just tell her what's happening?" But he won't.
Yeah.
Like he's just keeping it all bottled up, and he's just like verbally abusing everybody.
Yeah.
And like punching holes in the wall or whatever.
Yeah. Then it's time to go on a drive and wreck your car.
Yeah, and he goes and gets drunk. I think he does like and he talks to like, oh, because his daughter got sick at school, and then he like ends up calling the teacher, and he's like, "How are you gonna let my kid get sick? Like, what? You're the worst teacher ever." He's just like berating her.
Yeah, totally.
Stuff like that. Like, yeah, he crashes out hard, and then he ends up going to the bar and getting super drunk. But he says a prayer. He's like, I'm not a praying man, but I'm in a tight spot." I forgot how it goes, but that's another, like, I've seen a lot of these iconic scenes parodied and referenced a lot. So it was cool to see where they came from.
Yeah, it's a good scene. It's well acted. I think the acting in most of this movie is actually pretty good.
It's really solid. Yeah. I like Jimmy Stewart a lot.
Yeah, I liked him a lot in this.
And after this, I went and watched some of his Alfred Hitchcock movies like Vertigo and Rear Window, and those are really solid too. But yeah, so and then this is the point where he says this prayer, and then presumably like his family's praying for him, like we saw at the beginning. Oh, and the teacher's husband is at the bar too. He's like, "Wait,
oh yeah,
George Bailey," and he punches him in the mouth, like, "Don't talk to my wife that way," and stuff. And they throw him out of the bar, and then he ends up. Oh yeah, he like drives off in his car, super drunk, and he hits the tree. And the guy's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing to my tree? Look at this big old gash in my tree." And then he just leaves his car there and wanders off and ends up at the bridge, and he's like contemplating jumping, and his guardian angel shows up and jumps in first instead, which is kind of a cool twist, because that's not what happens in the story. Because he knows he'll save him, because he knows he's actually a selfless person.
I did like that, how he went from like a self-loathing, like bad state, to then like the moment he needed to be heroic to save someone else. It was just totally intuitive, and he does it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was super good. And then they end up getting fished out, and he makes the wish that he was never born. And he sees what the world would be like without him. His brother died. The whole division at war was destroyed because his brother wasn't there to save them. His wife is like a lonely spinster, and the whole town's taken over by Potter. It's not Bedford Falls anymore. It's Pottersville.
And it's just like strip clubs and bars, and like,
yeah, it's super seedy, and yeah,
clearly a lot worse.
The villain of this piece is actually the hero.
Yeah, and nobody knows him. He's running around and nobody recognizes him. he sees Mr. Gower, the pharmacist, and he finds out that because George wasn't there to stop him, he accidentally poisoned the kid and then lost his business. So now he's just like a homeless drunk. And yeah, and he realizes he wants to live. He runs back to the bridge looking for Clarence, his angel. But then he realizes that the spell reversed or whatever it is and now he's back in the right timeline. And he heads back home, and like unbeknownst to him, his wife had been calling everybody up, and I think she called up Uncle Billy too and found out like what was happening, and everybody like chips in all their money to help him, and it's just like a happy, wholesome ending because he doesn't like none of the things he was afraid of actually end up happening because the community loves him and they're there for him.
Yeah, he shows up and he's loving his family, and the auditors and everything are at his house. So
Yeah.
he's already like, it would have been a situation that he could have been really worried about, but he comes in and he's just so ecstatic to have a family and a good life. And then everyone comes in with all the money that they've saved, and he realizes he is loved by the community. And it was really wholesome. Like I can see
Yeah.
why people, even non-religious people, get like a certain resonance when they watch this and they see that it relates just to like true patterns in the world that are good.
Yeah, for sure.
You
And
can
there's
see
a
how it is like a stab at atheism and like a weird.
yeah, totally. Yeah, like yeah, the cynical part of me, like I had to be like, shut up and let me enjoy this because like it's easy to be kind of black pilled about all that stuff. But and there's the scene before this where he's like running through the town and he's like, "Merry Christmas" to all the different things.
Merry Christmas, movie house! Merry Christmas, Emporium! Merry Christmas, you wonderful building alone!
Like Merry Christmas, library, Merry. I feel like I've seen like a really funny parody of that, but I can't remember where it was. But yeah, and then they're all singing like Christmas carols, and then and the bell rings. It's like, oh, every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. So you find out that like Clarence finally got his wings at the end, and yeah, it's just like a wholesome, kind of schmaltzy, happy ending. But it's like it's heartwarming for sure.
It is heartwarming. Yeah. It was good. It's a good Christmas movie. I see why it stayed around so long, and I'll probably will turn it into a little tradition where you got to at least watch it in Christmas time.
Yeah, it's just that feel good Christmas vibe. It is the perfect sort of like double feature with a Christmas Carol adaptation. We just had the Christmas fair at church, and they did the little puppet show, the Christmas Carol puppet
It's
show.
so sweet.
Yeah, and it's great to watch all the little kids watch it, and just like the communal aspect of that, like the live action, like just little production. It's like a similar vibe.
Yeah, it's so sweet and wholesome. I think I showed up one day on like a lunch break to like one of the fairs at the church, and they were doing that, and just seeing it was so sweet and wholesome. Like it almost made me cry just seeing it because it was just so sweet. It's such a sweet community thing, and yeah, it has a really similar vibe to like these kinds of movies.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a worthwhile Christmas movie with a good story and good morals, and it's one that, yeah, maybe cynical people can try to pick it apart, but I feel like most people who watch it will take away something meaningful from it.
Yeah, and it's sometimes it's easy to feel like it's over. but then like when you put things in perspective and realize like how many blessings are around us at all times that we forget about, it's a nice reminder of all of that.
Yeah, it's easy to feel like it's over, but in the depth of that, it's easy to be so back, to realize you have a community and that things are actually good. And it also shows how he was just in like a negative headspace. It's easy to get in like a weird spot where things are going wrong and you stew on it and it's really bad. But then, sometimes just a simple experience will make you realize how precious everything that you have really is.
Yeah, and how like the things you're afraid of aren't as scary as they seem.
Yeah, especially not with like your loving family and community around you. Maybe going at things alone can be scary, but yeah, you have people or a church or a community, like doing things alone can be scary, but you're usually not alone.
Yeah, I guess that was part of it. Like he got a little bit too prideful and he was trying to deal with it by himself, and that was overwhelming for him. But then
everyone was behind him for the whole time. Like even when he went to go on his adventures earlier in the movie, like he shows up to get a briefcase from somewhere, and his prior boss had already bought him a briefcase just because he loved him. Like it's littered throughout the movie that he is really loved and supported by this community. He's just, he feels like he's failing because he's not going on his like individualistic journey to go and travel or whatever. Right. But really, he was supported the whole time by like people who loved him, but he just lost sight of it.
Yeah, and that theme that Frank Capra said, "No one is poor who has friends." I think it shows that in The Office. There's like a photo of his dad, and it says that under the photo. And
Yeah,
yeah, and that's what it is. That's the moral of the story.
it's great.
So, yeah, it is great. Thanks for joining me for this.
Yeah, man.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everyone. God bless.
God bless us, everyone. It's not this movie, but it's still good. I think we've talked a little bit about they're making the 2 new versions of Christmas Carol. There's like the Johnny Depp one coming up, and then Robert
Oh,
Eggers.
really?
Robert Eggers
Oh,
is doing the one with Willem Dafoe. I'm less interested in the Johnny Depp one. Maybe that'll be
yeah.
good, but I want to see what
Eggers one
Eggers
has
does.
potential to be really cool, or just like the weirdest thing.
Yeah, like I hopefully he doesn't like. I don't think he'll miss the point. Like he seems pretty good at like getting
Yeah,
to the heart of this. Like his Nosferatu, like it was dark and demonic, but it
but
was
good.
really good. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
excited
It
to
was.
see that.
Yeah, that'll be cool, and we'll do a review of that for sure.
Yeah, totally. All right, man. Well, it's
God
good.
bless.
Yeah, God bless. Take care. See ya another
Yeah.
time.